Welcome back, folks, to this week's episode of I'm Just Saying Sports Talk. Today, we're going to talk about, reluctantly, I know it's kind of been stretched out, but we're going to talk about this Ezekiel Elliot thing. But I kind of want to reframe it as an NFL thing.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's just an Ezekiel Elliott problem, but I think it's a little bigger than that. So you want to share any of your initial thoughts on the Ezekiel Elliott issue with the I'm Just Saying Sports Talk audience?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just get this started. With at first when all this came out about Zeke, I was like, well, hey, if the guy did it, let him do his time. He needs to just try to, get himself together and go to his domestic violence classes and things of that nature and do whatever the NFL asks of him so he can, get his reputation back right. But now, you keep hearing more and more to this story that it was looking like the young lady was trying to blackmail him and extort money out of him and things of that nature. I'm like, well, man, did the NFL jump the gun? Should they have done a better or more thorough investigation, or do they need to just throw this out? I mean, my thing is once they gave him the six game suspension, I really thought they had some really good credible evidence, but it's looking like they may have jumped the gun. I don't know if it's like you always say, the NFL is being the judge and the jury, and that's just not a good thing.
And this is what I think. I think that the NFL, I understand it's a league and you have a commissioner, but so do other sports.
Exactly.
But I think the NFL places itself in doing criminal investigations, which they're not equipped to do. So I think their tentacles, their reach is a little bit too far. And I'm going to read and I'm going to read something to you all that kind of tells you the mentality of the NFL. But this is what I'm saying. If I'm going to compare this to the Kobe Bryant situation, right? Yeah. With his alleged rape case in Colorado, right? The NFL, it didn't happen in a locker room, in an NBA facility, or at an NBA function. So it was outside of that, and they let the law take care of a criminal matter. And they held back judgment, didn't make any decisions concerning Kobe Bryant, and they let whatever the consequences for breaking that law, if it was going to be any, they were willing to let the law take care of that.
And then they were going to probably put a suspension on him or something.
Right. But I think the NFL is a little different. Now, I want to read something. This is the personal. Many people said this. I don't understand how the courts were done with it. He's not found guilty of anything, and how are they prosecuting?
That's what
In this thing called a collective bargaining agreement, and this is why I say reading is fundamental. This collective bargaining agreement, meaning it's a collective, meaning that both sides have to agree to what's in these agreements based on salary, contract, whatever it may be, labor issues, insurance issues, conduct issues, or whatever. So you got to be careful what you sign.
But it was the NFL and the NFLPA.
Right. NELPA. But I'm going to read. This is what it is. All right. It says, first of all, these are just excerpts. You can get it and read this document for yourself. It says, it is the privilege to be a part of the National Football League. Everyone who is part of our league must refrain from conduct detrimental to the integrity and the public confidence in the NFL. This includes owners, coaches, players, and other team employees, game officials, and employees of the league office, NFL films, NFL Network, and other NFL businesses. Key thing, conduct detrimental to the integrity and the public confidence.
Glad you brought that up.
Okay.
I have something I want to add.
Public confidence. Now let me read you another excerpt. Okay, so keep all this in mind. Integrity, public confidence.
And
All right.
read that last line too.
And it says, what, this one here? It says, this includes owners, coaches, players, and other team employees, game officials, employees of the league office, NFL Films, NFL Network, and any other NFL business. So if you have an affiliate, if you part of an affiliate NFL business and you do something detrimental to possibly ruin the public confidence or the integrity, they're saying you have to uphold these things. Now, another excerpt. This is where it gets to. Listen to this. It is not enough to simply avoid being found guilty of a crime. We are all held to a higher standard and must conduct ourselves in a way that is responsible, promotes the values of the NFL, and is lawful. So it's saying it's not just enough not to be called, to be not found guilty. It says, players convicted of a crime or subject to a disposition of a criminal proceeding as defined in this policy are subject to discipline. This is where it's hitting Zeke. But even if the conduct does not result in a criminal conviction, players found to have engaged in any of the following conducts will be subject to discipline. So, this is their law. We're applying our common sense and our criminal law, like how it works outside of this. But the NFL is a world and an institution into itself. So it says that even if you're not convicted, because they're trying to protect the integrity and the public confidence in their product. So that tells you where their interests lie. It's not about protecting Zeke and his image. It's the public, the fans, it's the consumer, it's the people that are in partnership, it's everyone else's confidence. So if they perceive that it's detrimental, didn't say if it was illegal, detrimental. It's a business, so we know it's detrimental to business. Anything that affects money, or you start losing customers, or you start dividing the customer base, or confidence. Okay. Another excerpt. This is what the NFL is functioning off of. It says, whenever the league office becomes aware of a possible, not a violation, a possible violation of the personal conduct policy, it will undertake an investigation, the timing and scope of which will be based upon the particular circumstances of the matter. So, any possible, so we're talking about this investigation going on for a whole year. So even if it's just, I don't know, possible, because they're trying to protect their public confidence. All right. Here's another thing. In investigating a potential violation, the league may rely on information obtained by law enforcement agencies, court records, or independent investigations conducted at the discretion of the NFL. They're not bound by the same investigative protocols that are normal law enforcement. It's at their discretion. They can decide what they want to use in part, or use in whole, or use solely. So we got to think about, we're looking at Zeke, we can't compare it to what's going down in your local courthouse. And they can do it because it's in policy. It's been decided upon. It's what the players and the ownership have signed off on. Okay? Here's another excerpt. In cases where a player is not charged with a crime, or is charged but not convicted, he may still be found to have violated the policy if credible evidence establishes that he engaged in conduct prohibited by the the personal conduct policy. So This is why they can care less about whether he was convicted, because they're not functioning on that criteria. And they have a law in their policy that he is subject to as being an employee of the NFL.
So their laws are more stringent than the law of the land.
Now, this is talking about reporting. This means, what are you obligated to disclose to the NFL if you get yourself into something?
Okay.
Listen to this. This obligation to report is broader than simply reporting an arrest. So most people are saying, man, I'm not going to report something until, if I didn't get arrested, none of their business. Okay? It requires reporting to the league any incident that comes to the club's or players' attention which, if the allegations were true, would constitute a violation of the personal conduct policy. So they're saying, you need to tell us, even if you get yourself into something, that if it came out to be true, you better give us a heads up. You need to tell us. And this isn't a request.
Yeah.
This is the standard.
But that's fair, though. I understand that.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
Somehow, but sometimes, people are like, hey, me and my girlfriend got in an argument.
Oh, yeah.
We settled it. It's no issue. You might need to go in there and say, hey, I just want a heads up. Me and my significant other, we got in an altercation last night. I didn't touch her. We just had this, that, and the third. So if it ever come out otherwise,
then
then So my whole point in saying this is that we got to understand the ramifications, the environment in which Zeke is what they're enforcing on him, which is maybe not in our law. We're not athletes. We're not signed to a team. But as a part of these contracts that they're signed, they're agreeing to this type of investigation and these type of measures. So the point is, before the real issue is, it's just like in regular life. Sometimes it's bad laws.
Yeah.
And these players need to dig into their own conduct policies and dig into that CBA, which is almost 400 pages long, and make sure you read it.
Well, those guys,
because it's there, and people, and they're like, I don't understand why. They must haven't read this.
But why wouldn't their attorney pull that out? You know, the NFLPA, they have their own attorney.
Now,
why would their attorney not went through that with a fine-tooth?
Now, the attorney that the NFL hires works for the owners.
Yeah, but I mean, the NFLPA has an attorney.
Yeah, but Demars, what's his name?
Demars,
what's his last name? The guy that represents the player. Now, he has said he didn't dispute this because he knows this is there. He just kept saying, why did it take so long? Why did it take a year?
Yeah.
But it may not be any stipulation on how long, like we, in the normal world, it's like, what are your, when does, how long can you go back?
Yeah.
This is a whole different, a different deal. It's just like when, your constitutional rights, people go out of the country and think those rights go with them, and they don't.
But my thing is, now that they've seen the witness or the victim is not a credible person, how can you still hold that 6-game suspension against this guy?
I think this is what it is. Reading this and understanding that they're trying to keep confidence, I think is this, right? Trigger words, domestic violence, right?
But if he didn't,
what I'm saying is, I don't think it's about him. I don't think it's about whether he did it or not.
Yeah.
Because this allows them not to care about that. I think is that they're looking at all of their women viewership. A lot of times when people hear that trigger word, they've convicted him. They're trying to figure out how the fans feel. How many people have convicted him in their mind, like whether he get convicted or not?
Yeah.
It's a certain population that believe he did it.
And at first, I was one of those.
Okay. But what I'm saying, they're balancing like how many of our fans think he did it.
Yeah.
And if he goes unpunished, does it ruin the confidence what they're talking about.
Let me throw this out at you.
And I'm not saying it's right,
I know.
but I'm trying to give a glimpse into their mind state.
But let me throw this out. Is he being suspended for the alleged domestic violence, or is he being suspended for pulling that lady's shirt down at the Mardi Gras?
Or any combination of it could be a combination
because
of
the Mardi Gras thing, there was a video for that.
Yeah, you're right. It could be
did that.
It could be it could be a combination.
And that's
it could be
conduct detrimental to the league.
It could be what we say to our kids. I didn't do nothing this time. Well, this is for what you get
last time.
This is what you
what
did,
you about to do.
what you about to do, or what I didn't find out that you did.
Right.
So I think it's I think he's being sacrificed to a certain extent because we're trying to hold him to legal stuff, like normal legal proceedings. Did you do it? No, you couldn't prove it. Leave me alone. Let me go on with my life.
Yeah.
But I think because the NFL is ill-equipped to they're in an area where they shouldn't be, they're constantly messing up.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They're not equipped to do with this. They every case they handle different. Mm-hmm. They don't have any, just like legal proceedings have precedents.
Yeah.
When judges make decisions, it's based on years and years of other decisions and trends so that they can make a better decision that is bought into by the public.
Yeah.
The NFL is in this judge and jury thing without any precedent, making rules up.
That's right.
And interpret. And see, the other thing is interpretations. That's what they really need. They don't have any standard of interpretation. Like, you need to be looking at when this commissioner did it, this was the interpretation of this rule at this time, and does this hold up? They are free balling. They are freelancing.
And I think he's making some of these decisions on he's emotional when he's making some of these decisions.
Well, he is. He said
he's with emotion.
They're talking about public confidence. Well,
that's your opinion.
That's your opinion. How much do they have a public confidence meter every week? Like, is it at 95% or is it 90%?
Exactly.
Well, I know about the president approval rate.
That's right.
But do they have anything to measure this confidence by?
But let me throw this out too. I know that's why I had you read that, and that the very first paragraph that you read, that last
about who's included,
the owners. Okay, look at Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts. Look what he did a few years back. How much? As far as pills, how many he get caught with in his car?
I don't know.
One in a bag full.
Yeah. But I will say I haven't read this. They have a whole other provision in a statement about ownership. And it says ownership and I think executives are held, they have stiffer.
They should be a higher
standard. They do. They have stiffer penalties than the employees.
Yeah.
Now, like Rob Kraft was hit with the $5 million fine. That's part of you're gonna pay. But don't hurt him.
But Kraft actually what Irsay did was worse than what Kraft did.
Yeah, I mean,
that was conduct detrimental to the league.
Okay, folks. So, that's the I'm Just Saying Sports Talk take on the Ezekiel Elliot thing. We had to address it. It's a hot topic, and just bring us some other insight to it. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments. Be sure to subscribe. Keep supporting.
Well, one thing I do want to say, folks, before we do leave you, I want to thank the commissioner because I'm a Cowboys hater. So, thank you, Roger.
That's sad, man. See y'all.